Have you ever wondered why, despite all your effort, all your planning, all your rituals, life still feels like a push? Like you're swimming upstream against a current that refuses to bend in your favor? What if I told you that the very act of trying to control your reality is the precise thing blocking it from unfolding? That your need to figure it all out, to predict, to manage, to force, is actually jamming your frequency and holding your manifestation hostage in the field of potential? You see, we've been trained to believe that control equals power, that the more we do, the more we achieve. But quantum physics whispers a different truth. It says energy doesn't flow through force, it flows through coherence, through alignment, through surrender. Because when you are constantly controlling, your energy contracts. Your nervous system stays in survival mode, your thoughts fragment, your heart closes. And the field, the intelligent, responsive quantum field, does not respond to your effort. It responds to your signal. And your signal, whether you realize it or not, is always broadcasting one core message: I don't trust. But something miraculous happens the moment you stop controlling, the moment you breathe into the unknown and let go of the need to shape every outcome. Your energy softens, your field expands, your intuition returns, and suddenly things begin to move. Not because you forced them, but because you aligned with the version of reality that was already waiting for you. The timeline that couldn't reach you while you were vibrating in tension. This isn't new age fluff, it's quantum precision. Surrender is not weakness, it's resonance. And when you understand how energy actually flows, you stop fighting the river and let it carry you. Because the truth is, alignment doesn't come from more control. It comes from remembering who you are when you finally let go. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to feel the shift, not just in your mind, but in your entire field. Imagine this. You're walking through life, holding tightly to a blueprint you believe must unfold exactly as planned. You micromanage the details, obsess over timing, interpret silence as failure and setbacks as punishment, and without realizing it, your energy becomes a closed circuit, repeating, recycling, resisting. The more you try to control, the more you separate yourself from the intelligence that breathes stars into existence. Because control is a frequency, and it's heavy. It signals fear, it radiates mistrust, and it communicates to the quantum field that you don't believe in the very future you claim to want. But here's the twist. The moment you begin to release control, to relax your grip on how it must happen, you enter into the flow of quantum alignment. You shift from contracting into expanding, from fear into coherence. That's when synchronicities multiply, timelines bend, opportunities appear from nowhere, because now you're no longer sending out mixed signals. You're broadcasting clarity. And the field, precise and loyal, begins to reflect that new coherence. This is not philosophy, it's wave mechanics. Your nervous system is the interface, your emotions the transmitter, your trust the permission. So, let me ask you this. What if letting go isn't a risk, but a requirement? What if the life you want has always been near, but it's your control that's been keeping it just out of reach? You've been waking up with a tight chest, haven't you? That low-level tension that rides under your skin like static, checking your phone, waiting for something to shift, praying for a sign that what you're doing is working. You smile, you perform, you repeat your affirmations, but deep inside there's a gnawing exhaustion, like you're stuck in a loop that logic can't break. And it's not because you're weak. It's because no one taught you the truth about energy, that when your nervous system is wired to control, to anticipate threat, to brace for disappointment, it hijacks your field. You think you're manifesting, but what you're really doing is broadcasting resistance. And the quantum field, which doesn't respond to your dreams, but to your dominant vibration, simply reflects back the static you haven't yet cleared. That's why the money doesn't come. That's why the relationship doesn't land. That's why the peace you crave still feels like it's for someone else. But it doesn't have to be this way. Because when you stop controlling, your body exhales, your heart softens, your field reboots. And that's the doorway to flow. Not the kind of flow you hope for, but the kind your system finally becomes. This is not about thinking more positively. It's about remembering how to feel safe in the unknown again. And that shift, it starts with understanding how your nervous system, your emotions, and your energetic signature are entangled in ways you were never taught. In the quantum model of reality, your energy is not just a vibe, it's a blueprint, a magnetic instruction to the field. Every thought, every emotion, every breath sends data into the unified field that surrounds and connects all things. When you're in survival, when your nervous system is hypervigilant, scanning for danger, grasping for certainty, your frequency becomes fragmented. The signal you emit is noisy, incoherent, riddled with contradiction. You may say, "I trust the process," but your body is still bracing for betrayal. You may visualize abundance, but your gut is still knotted in lack. This energetic mismatch is not lost on the field, it mirrors it exactly. That's the law. But when you step out of the need to control, when you shift from, "How do I fix this?" to "How do I feel safe here?" everything begins to recalibrate. Coherence emerges. Your heart and mind begin to sync. Your field becomes ordered, and that order, that vibrational harmony, is what collapses new timelines. Studies from HeartMath Institute prove this. When your heart is in a state of emotional coherence, gratitude, compassion, surrender, it entrains your brainwaves, aligns your nervous system, and creates a measurable electromagnetic signal that reaches far beyond your body. In that moment, you're no longer reacting, you're creating. You're not a victim of your circumstances, you're a conductor of a new signal. And the universe? It doesn't need more effort from you. It needs a clear frequency. So ask yourself, if clarity is the code and coherence is the key, what happens when you finally let your system stabilize in safety, not struggle? Here's where theory becomes transformation. Your nervous system is not just a biological mechanism, it's an energetic gateway. It is the translator between your inner world and the quantum field. When you exist in a state of chronic control, even if you're spiritually aware, your body interprets life as a series of potential threats. And so, your sympathetic nervous system, the fight, flight, or freeze response, stays activated. Blood flows away from the heart into the limbs, cortisol floods your system, and your field contracts. In this state, you're not broadcasting alignment, you're echoing survival, and the quantum field, precise and responsive, reflects that state with more experiences that reinforce the same feeling. But here's the science-backed truth most never hear. Your nervous system can be trained into coherence. Through intentional breathwork, meditative presence, and emotional regulation, you can reset your baseline from hypervigilance to heart-aligned awareness. When your parasympathetic system, the rest, repair, and receive mode, activates, your body shifts into trust. Your breath slows, your energy stabilizes, and your electromagnetic field begins to broadcast a signal of openness, of safety, of readiness. That signal is your invitation to the universe. It tells the field, "I'm not chasing, I'm allowing. I'm not forcing, I'm flowing." In that moment, you become the energetic match to the very outcomes you once thought you had to fight for. And this is not mystical, it's measurable. Brain scans show that when people enter deep coherence, the brain and heart begin to pulse in harmonic rhythms. The result? A field that's magnetic, attractive, resonant. You don't manifest through thought alone. You manifest through embodied signal. And the body, not the mind, is the true broadcaster. Let's make this real. Every day you have dozens of micro moments where you're unconsciously reinforcing the old timeline. Scrolling your phone with tension in your chest, reacting to an email with a spike of adrenaline, checking your bank account with a breath you didn't know you were holding. These aren't just habits, they are energetic reinforcements. Each reaction is a signal, each emotion a frequency, and your nervous system records them like a playlist on repeat. So how do you break the loop? You interrupt the signal. You build new reference points of safety and coherence by anchoring small, repeatable shifts in your state. Start with your breath. 3 conscious inhales and exhales when you catch yourself spiraling. That pause isn't just psychological, it's quantum. It halts the transmission of the old identity. Next, track your body. Notice where your tension lives, jaw, shoulders, gut, and consciously release it. These are not passive practices. They are field recalibrations. The more you practice disrupting the default response, the more you teach your system that it's safe to be in a new frequency. And that safety becomes the soil where new realities grow. Add in one powerful question. What would the version of me who already lives in alignment feel right now? Ask it before you speak, before you react, before you plan. The answer will not come from your thinking mind. It will rise from your field. And with repetition, your body begins to memorize the future instead of rehearsing the past. This is embodiment. This is frequency attunement. And it's how you shift timelines, not through effort, but through energetic rehearsal. Something extraordinary begins to happen when you make coherence a habit instead of a rare experience. At first, it feels subtle, like a lightness in your chest, a moment of clarity that arrives unforced, a conversation that flows without effort. But then, reality starts shifting in ways that logic cannot explain. You begin to notice the right people showing up at the right time. Opportunities emerge without chasing. Answers appear before you ask. This isn't coincidence, it's coherence, collapsing new possibilities into form, because now you're not living from reaction, you're living from resonance. You've stopped broadcasting from the fear of what might go wrong and started transmitting from the certainty of who you already are becoming. The field responds not just to effort, but to energetic truth. And truth feels like peace. That's why the changes start inward. Your sleep deepens, your relationships soften, your creativity awakens. It's as if the universe has been holding this version of reality for you all along, waiting not for your perfection, but for your frequency to match it. And once it does, you enter a feedback loop of alignment. The more you trust, the more things flow. The more things flow, the more you trust. And this is where the timeline truly bends, when you stop being the seeker and become the signal. You're no longer trying to manifest a new life. You are embodying the self that already lives it. And this isn't temporary. It's sustainable, because it's no longer based on external proof. It's stabilized in your inner vibration. This is where most people fall off, not because they don't believe, but because they don't stabilize. Life gets loud again. The phone rings, the bills arrive, someone disappoints you, and without awareness, your energy starts reaching for control again. You begin to contract, to plan, to push. And just like that, your field slips back into the old code. But here's the secret the mystics and the neuroscientists agree on. Stability isn't about perfection, it's about return. The power isn't in never slipping, it's in how quickly you remember. This is why integration is everything. You don't need to live in a cave or meditate for hours. You need micro-rituals that return you to your frequency, again and again until it becomes your new home base. Anchor your mornings with intention. Ask, what version of me do I choose to observe from today? Use your midday moments to reset. 3 breaths, 1 hand on your heart, 1 thought aligned with your future self. And before sleep, reflect. Where did I observe from today? Fear or flow? These aren't just practices, they are tuning forks. Each one brings your nervous system back into resonance. Each one reactivates the field. And as you do this, you begin to feel something shift, not just emotionally, but energetically. Your body feels lighter, time begins to stretch, synchronicity becomes normal. This is the architecture of a new identity, one built not on effort but on energetic congruence. And when the old version tries to pull you back, as it will, you meet it not with resistance, but with recognition. You say, "Ah, that's the old frequency, but I don't live there anymore." The version of you that already lives in alignment isn't a fantasy, it's a frequency, and it's already broadcasting. Right now, there's a parallel self, fully embodied, grounded, thriving, not waiting for signs or needing to control, but radiating a deep inner knowing. This self doesn't ask, "Is it working?" because they live as if it already has. They walk into rooms with presence, speak with clarity, and move with a calm certainty that ripples through reality. And here's the quantum truth. You don't have to become this version. You only have to tune to them. Because in the quantum field, every version of you already exists. You're not creating the future from scratch. You're collapsing into the timeline that matches your most coherent self. So how do you do it? By becoming the observer from that frequency, not the one who is striving, but the one who remembers. When you speak, ask, is this how my aligned self would speak? When you react, ask, what would my future self observe right now? This isn't pretending, it's permission. And the more you choose that identity, the more the world reorganizes to reflect it. The field doesn't require proof. It responds to signal. And when your signal stabilizes in the energy of wholeness, the field stops reflecting your past and starts collapsing your vision. This is how timelines bend, not with force, not with hustle, but with vibrational certainty. Jacter Cold and then Japter Cold. So now you stand at the threshold, not of something new, but of something ancient within you, finally reawakening. The journey you've been chasing wasn't outside you, it was encoded in your field all along, waiting for you to trust instead of control, to feel instead of force, to align instead of analyze. This isn't about doing more, it's about becoming still enough to remember who you already are beneath the noise. Because when you observe life from the lens of coherence, reality stops being random. It becomes responsive, your nervous system becomes the compass, your emotions become the code, and your frequency becomes the portal. So here's your invitation. For the next 24 hours, catch yourself when you reach for control. Pause, breathe, observe from the self that already lives in flow. Let go, not to surrender the outcome, but to activate the timeline that's already aligned. Let stillness become your strategy. Let trust become your vibration. And if this message resonated, if it stirred something in your field, softened your breath, or helped you remember the part of you that doesn't need to fight anymore, then don't keep it to yourself. Share this with someone whose nervous system is still carrying the weight of control. Like this video if it gave you clarity. Subscribe if you want to keep tuning into this frequency, and drop a comment below. I allow energy to flow through me, not from force, but from frequency. Because you're not here to hustle your way into a new reality. You're here to remember your way back home. And now, that remembering has begun. Welcome to the field. Welcome to alignment. Welcome to you.